Hi there. My name is Ricky, and for the past few years, I've been working on my passion project, Ramona and Clay. Ramona and Clay is a sci-fi fantasy tale steeped in 80s and 90s cartoons and comics aesthetics. It's a story that spans 40 years in the life of our hero, Ramona, who has raised all her life to be the chosen one, only to find out that not everything she's been told about her past and the world is exactly as it seems. Along the way, she meets all kinds of interesting and eclectic characters, from stone elementals to mashed up monsters to rocker mercenaries to whatever this thing is. I like to think of it as if a kid in the 80s took all their toys, from buff action figures and transforming robots to hip fashion dolls and cutesy figurines, and just dumped them all out in a huge sandbox, bashing everything together, making their own stories and mixing up all the mythologies. You know, the way I did as a kid. And like I said, it takes place over 40 years, and I want the series and style to reflect that. From her idyllic childhood raised among the peaceful Hoosits, to the dark years as a young adult where everything she thought she knew about the world begins to crumble all around her. I want everything to go from the bright and shiny world of 80s Saturday morning cartoons to the gritty, grimy world of the darkest 90s comic books. Now I know what you may be thinking. This sounds ambitious. And that's because it is. I've never really been able to come up with small ideas. The problem with that is, everything I want to do ends up becoming so big I either give up or lose interest and move on to something else. You see, I struggle with several limitations that keep me from working full-time on anything. I suffer from depression, anxiety, chronic pain, and was just reminded that I was diagnosed with ADHD back in 2013 because, I'm the kind of person who can forget they have ADHD. Despite all this, I spent the past 3.5 years working on this story, amassing over 350 pages of notes and dozens of illustrations. I spent a good amount of that time studying the artists and styles I'd like to emulate, sometimes recreating their work, then applying those techniques to my own characters. It's been great, and I'm honestly super proud of myself for what I've accomplished so far. But to be honest, for someone who doesn't have that much to give in the first place, I keep spreading myself thin. I keep coming back to all these little things I know I can do. Making YouTube videos, doing commissions, making fan art, and I made a lot of fan art. These are things I feel either have a better chance of making money or getting more attention as an artist. But none of that was doing the thing I really want and need to be doing, and that's working on Ramona and Clay. So that's what I'm doing. That's what this is. I'm now Ricky Does It, making Ramona and Clay. I'm dedicating my life 100% to making Ramona and Clay a reality. I spent the past few weeks breaking down those 350 plus pages of notes and taking all the big stories, scenes, and ideas and getting them down on index cards that I can hold in my hand and organize into something that makes sense. Believe me, covering 40 years of someone's life plus a secret past and possible future is a lot to keep track of. I'll also be focusing a lot on really learning form and anatomy. For whatever reason, I never got any kind of actual art education. I mostly just relied on natural talent and intuition and whatever tips and tricks I picked up along the way. But now that I've come back to working on a big project like I haven't in a while, I just find myself struggling to get across what I want to say visually because I don't have those basic fundamentals down, and that's the thing I want to change. I definitely want to take a moment to appreciate all of you that are here because you watched my paper doll videos, or my drawing videos. Maybe you're even here from when I made board game boxes. But for the past few years, my true passion has been for this story, and I've decided to finally honor that and put everything I have into it. And I really hope you continue to stick around and share this journey with me. And of course, I want to give a special thanks to all my patrons for their monthly contributions. This has been a hard year for all of us, and my partner who pays the rent around here actually lost his job during the pandemic. So just know things would have been so much harder this past year without all of your support. So thank you very much. Don't forget to follow me across all social media as Ricky Does It. That's RICKEY Does It. It would really help a lot if you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. I really am excited to finally be doing this. Let's go.